let's make sure it's live. So it says go live, so... Oh, there we go. There we go. Alright, cool. So I'm streaming and going live, I guess. I didn't realize those two are separate. This really goes to show that I don't know what I'm doing. But I think we've got it. Awesome. Hello, everybody. It's a very impromptu stream, so we are not 100% sure how many people are going to be coming along. That's okay. It's all about the vibes today. For those of you who are checking this out on the replay, awesome to have you guys checking it out. The music you're hearing is from a phenomenal musician known as Pizza Hotline. I use a lot of this on the Nightmare Detectives background music. And this is Low Poly Breaks Disc 1. I just really enjoy his music. Might have some nice background music. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your time here. And I welcome you. So let's just say hello to everybody. So we've got Mr. Awesome. Thank you very much for coming in early. Haley Clark. That is an OG right there. Haley is an OG Dusklight listener. I want to recognize is real. Alex Nunez, one of our Patreon supporters. Kaio, one of the Blackwell family. Papa Kaio Blackwell. And Chris Stillwagner. Hello to all of you. And, of course, my delightful co-host. The wonderful, the incomparable Spirit Voices. We are vibing. We were just in the green room listening to some Hosier to kind of get our energy up. I guess like the first thing is just a general apology that the content has been slow. Some of you might know I had to get a completely new PC. I had been operating off of the same one, which was already 4 years old when I got it, and was getting on in years. And it gave up the ghost, and then I had to set the new one up, and it just took a lot of time. Thankfully, you don't have to worry. We now have everything set up to go. I'm hoping something will be up on the weekend, and we will be back on a normal schedule going forward. But we wanted to make sure... let me turn you up, Luce. Make sure you see if you come through a bit quietly. If by the way, gang, this is my first time doing this. If the stream at any point is coming across, like if it's like low in the bitrate or anything like that, or like it starts to sound a bit choppy, let me know. I will fix it. As you guys may be aware, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I wasn't going to do the stream with a choppy webcam, although I don't really want to have a webcam on, but like choppy audio, like everything has to be perfect when I do these transmissions. Luce and I, well, Luce, you're the same as me when it comes to stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I start every stream apologizing in advance for how it's going to go, because I just know that it never goes the way I expect it to. Yeah,
it's something where we really appreciate this. We have a Patreon stream we need to do, which I think we're going to do on Sunday. Not 100% sure yet exactly, but that's something totally separate. But we wanted to do a nice stream for you guys as a thank you, as a celebration. It's kind of wild to think that 6 months ago, not even that, 4 months ago, the channel was like 700 subs, I think. And, like, I get that, like, you know, there's many channels that grow quicker and grow bigger, and I'm not really bothered about things like that. In fact, I prefer it this way. I don't think I would like it if the channel blew up, like, really big overnight. I like the connection I'm able to have with our listeners, you know, where we're able to talk to each other, and, you know, once you reach a certain point, you can't do that anymore. And I'm not in any hurry for that. I am a big believer in quality over quantity, and I would rather put out curated content that I feel is unique to what Dusklight can do, and justifies it, the weight and what have you. So, so thank you all for coming. We're going to hang out for about an hour or so, celebrate the 3,000 milestone. We're nearly at 4. It's just kind of nuts to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously, like, like, the channel itself is two and a bit years with gaps, but, like, we've only been concurrently doing content, if you put it all together, for, like, 8 months, I think.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I keep checking the channel for various reasons, and every time I keep looking at the number, and I'm like, wow, already, Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind of like I mean, because I don't consider Dusklight to be just me. I consider Dusklight to be myself and Lucy at this point. Lucy does so much for the channel. Like it really cannot be overstated how much work Lucy puts in to what Dusklight is. So I've made perhaps the mistake before, or of not recognizing the importance of people around me when prior, and I think especially now it's really important to. Wow, I think I just played the stream back. Whoops, sorry guys, I'm trying to load up the top chat in the background and it decided to double load it. That's okay.
Oh,
no, it's okay. It's okay. I got it there. It can't be overstated what Lucy does. Lucy is responsible for the thumbnails. Lucy is responsible for helping do the editing. If any of you check out the Nightmare Detectives, they do all of the transcripts, which we're a big believer that those are very important for our listeners who may have ADD. Obviously, some of you guys might know I'm autistic, and I have like ADHD, so does Ronnie, best friend of the channel. We want people to be able to check stuff out without feeling overwhelmed, or want to be able to come back in and, enjoy the content. Lucy is our MVP for that. So I'm gonna go back and check the chat actually, Lucy, if you wanna say anything to the lovely listeners while I read this.
Sure. No, I was just thinking, like, I try. TJ has been good about being like, you don't have to do that. That's a lot of work. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I like it. It's good for my mental health. I like listening back to this because, I mean, I think we've been pretty clear about this, but what we're putting out in terms of the Nightmare Detectives is pretty far behind where we are in real time. So for me, you guys are hearing it right now, but I'm going back several months in order to transcribe this stuff, and it's nice. I actually like it. I like being reminded, oh yeah, we did do that, and these are things that
it's
I
fun.
should probably be keeping track of regardless, and I didn't. So
yeah. And obviously we know you're not all here for the Nightmare Detectives, so we're not going to spend ages on that as well.
No.
But like it's kind of crazy. Like a lot of the people here, I remember seeing on the early videos like 2 years ago, and I only got back into doing this because I found it was fun, and I take the same approach Rom next does. We love Rom very much. Rom's birthday recently as well, so happy belated to Rom. But Rom has always maintained that doing the channel should be an enjoyment first and foremost. Obviously you guys might know I work in the horror industry, so like I write and voice act for a living, and that's what my whole thing is. And Sturgeon is a big part of that. Sturgeon is the main reason I do it as a job. I'm very lucky. And speaking of, I think a lot of you guys are, big fans of the Sturgeon content. And that's sort of the thing that Dusklight is. Dusklight is designed to be where Sturgeon's main hub is. Like, the lore will go here. The, updates will go here. Like, I kind of want to make sure it has its own place. So, when I made Dusklight, I was like, all right, what can I offer in the horror narration space that other people can't offer? And that's Sturgeon. And that's what should always be at the forefront. That's why, like, we're such passionate people for the Nightmare Detectives, because it is a Sturgeon original. It basically gives even though it's not technically a proper ending to the Hotel Inertia, it counts, because the gang spend 40 hours in the Hotel Inertia. So fans get to go there. They get to experience, like, a lot of the existing lore in a new light. But you guys have my word that no matter what happens with this channel, however big it may get, it will always be about Sturgeon. Otherwise, there's no point in doing Dusklight Radio. That has to be, the main thing we're here for. And the Nightmare Tournament was definitely, like, something that, if you guys knew the work we put in, and shout out to Ronnie as well, like, we took, what was it, Luce, a year? Was it a year of production for that?
Yeah, I think so. Over a year, I thought.
We started pre-production on it. Yeah, it must have been. We started pre-production in 2021.
Right.
So it took about a long time, and there was a lot of different reasons to the background, but it cannot be overstated how hard of a worker and a perfectionist Ronnie is. And the end result speaks volumes to that.
So good.
I mean, I just went back and finished it again, and we pulled in some incredible people who I think deserve, love for that as well. Like, we had, obviously, Dodge the Grave, or known as Dodge 82, who is our other Nell Lockwood. Man, she's so talented. She is so talented, and
underrated too.
Underrated, massively so, and I hope she is. Just like, I've got her on a project coming up. So speaking of, which is part of what the stream's for, we will be releasing the first part of the Bar series soon, and playing Nell Lockwood is Dodge. I adore Rom to bits, and I'm so grateful Rom was our original Nell Lockwood. But we talked about it, and we felt that having a casting role where, obviously Nell is a black woman, and she's actually Welsh, but she's basically American at this point anyway. Having Dodge play that role was good. It was the right call, and Rom was freed up to do a lot of other roles that she could fill perfectly with that. And yeah, so Dodge was incredible in that. My buddy Zunkel, who's a real life friend of mine who played Zunk, it was actually like designed as like the that was an in joke, and then it became a character, and Zunk's become such a favorite of other people who are on the spectrum, people who just want to feel that connection. I think that's important to me. Is like, I'm not a preachy person with anything, but I think it's really important to me that my listeners feel represented. They go, oh, you know what? I've never heard someone like with those kinds of, like, whether it's something like anxiety or autism or being non-binary. I just love that. I want more people to feel that way when they listen to my work, or maybe they have friends who want representation, and I don't want it to feel forced either. Like, it should be a natural thing, where it shouldn't be the big deal that everyone wants it to be. It should just be a thing. And so I hope I've done that. But obviously we had Autumn Ivy with Alduin.
So good.
Man, Alduin has become everyone's crush.
For good reason.
Yeah. We do need, Alex, we actually have, that's really funny you should mention Latino character. We have a character called Chino de la Sturgeon, who is Nell's, kind of like Nell's successor, if you will. He is the original Nightmare Detective. And you will be seeing him come up either maybe on Dark Somnium first. I'm not sure, but he's been in the lore for like a couple years now. I just haven't been able to do any characters with him yet. Oh wait, no, that's not true. He was in Romnex's Last Sanita Betrayal Is the Only Truth That Sticks, and I played him there. So don't you worry, he will be there. But yeah, obviously we have the other crush in that detective, which is Wendy, played by the wonderful Spirit Voices.
Love Wendy. I love Wendy.
Wendy's just a badass.
She's so good.
And I think, like, the importance of characters that feel like they have that believability, they have that authenticity. I think that's, like, very important to me. I work very hard to try and make sure that my characters would react in ways that perhaps aren't overtly cringe, but hey, you know what? Every writer thinks they're not cringe until they're cringe. So, I think that's the
common pitfall.
Yeah. I'm sure there's things I've written where I'm like, oh, that was an interesting choice. And of course, we had Chelsea Rebecca from Dead Meat. That was a huge gain, and I have to give a shout out to Chris and Dane from Chilling. Chilling has been so good to me. A lot of the new listeners we get at Dusklight and a lot of the messages I get are actually crossovers from people listening to my work over at Chilling. I would never have met Autumn Ivy or Chelsea Rebecca and became friends with them and worked with them had it not been for Chilling. It is entirely down to them, and I am immensely grateful. If you haven't checked out, I've got some stuff on the Chilling app that is still exclusive there at the moment. Beneath the Static, for example, that was exclusive. It's still only there at the moment. But there is some really cool stuff over there. Chelsea Rebecca read out the Tortoises and Tarots, which was really awesome. Autumn Ivy obviously did The Last Sin Eater. yeah, I again, like this stream is basically just a celebration of everyone, and we'll get to you lovely people in a moment, don't you worry, but it really is a celebration of all the people that helped make this what it is. I mean, Dark Somnium told me a couple days ago that Sturgeon content alone had over 3.5 million hits on the channel. That is kinda terrifying.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a group effort though. I think no one would argue that without the sound design that Ronnie puts in, without the orchestration, without the voice actors, because like we all made a concerted effort to be after the Bar series to be like, we should do more and more voice acting stuff. Without that, I don't think there would have been that level of like excitement and intrigue. I mean, the Bar series, obviously, I remember that like that was right before the pandemic. I was still a teacher. And I did all my lines for Amos. I don't know if people know that I was Amos, but yeah, I was Amos and Gomez in that. And all the lines for that were done on a fucking iPhone 12. No, it was an iPhone 10. It was an iPhone 10X or iPhone X Plus, whatever.
Oh, man.
Because like I didn't have the setup at the time. And then that video went on to do 1.2 million. Obviously, NFC's done 500,000 in that time. Demi's Adventure is going to hit 250,000 in under a month, which is just kind of crazy. It's a really good time, but like, it doesn't happen without you guys. It doesn't happen without Lucy. It doesn't happen without Ronnie. It doesn't happen without Romnex. It doesn't happen without anybody who helped along the way. Like, I don't believe that there is a Dusklight without Kaio Volk, without Alex Nunez, without people like Dodge This 82, without people like Chris Stillwagner, without Haley Clark, without Lady Nevermore, without a lot of the people. Like, every time someone comments on the community tab or leaves a comment on the videos, even if I'm either just too busy or too overwhelmed to reply, I see them. I make sure I pay attention, because there's going to be a time where I can't do that. And for as long as I am able to recognize people when they pop up and say something to them, I'm going to do it. Otherwise, there's no joy in doing this. The joy is connecting with people.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, I don't know. How do you feel about that? You know, doing Spirit Voices, Luce?
No, I agree. I think a lot of my comment sections are made up of sort of not exactly the same people, but a lot of recurring people who have at least commented on a couple different things before. It's not always the same group, but you know, it's people that I can respond to and be like, thank you, like, thanks for coming back. And it's once or twice I've gotten people who are like, you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, obviously, like, well, of course.
It's also like, we're not, you know, because there's obviously a degree of, like, you know, I'm a big believer in that there should be a good little distance between, like, you know, us as performers and the listeners, but I feel like you could still be respectful. I feel like you could still have a friendly, you know, relationship with your listener base, but also, like, there's a perception when you're a narrator or a writer, especially one of any repute, that you're somehow a celebrity. And it's like, well, you know, you're not. You know, we're not.
Right.
So, you know, it's lovely when a listener treats you that way, but also at the same time, I'm a bit like, I'm just a person. You know,
Same.
It's why I don't have, like, a lot of social media. Like, I made a decision a couple years ago, especially in the last year, to really distance myself from that. Like, there's no Twitter. There's a private Instagram. There's nothing, like, to connect it. Like, I enjoy having these direct connections where it's in a, you know, like an open live stream, and that's it. Like, you know, it's nice because that means I can get to everybody. So yeah, I know what you mean though. And Kaio, hey, you know what? I don't call it pestering. It was motivation. The amount of people that would hit up the channel in that gap and be like, I hope you're okay. What's going on? No one was nasty about it, or you know, and people on the internet can be, but like no one was mean about it. Everyone was just like, I hope you're okay. And when I came back, it was my decision. Like, I felt like I was in a good enough place. And honestly, like, when you're grieving, like, you just want something to do. You want something to get up for. Like, when we did the Nightmare Detectives, it was just from me going, I want to try something new, because I can't say too much, but like, I'm on a writing I'm on an NDA, but I've got a writing project that takes most of my time now, And obviously, I'm not on no sleep anymore. I'd retired about a year ago. So like, what am I doing these days? Like, and I can't always put work out as frequently. So I was like, I need something to stimulate me mentally. And hence I went to Loose, and the Nightmare in Texas was born. So like, that was what got me back into making for the channel. And it wouldn't happen without people pushing me to. So when anyone, whether you subscribe and you comment, whether you pay $1 on the Patreon, whether you pay $40, you're all of equal importance of my time in terms of making sure I say thank you, making sure I recognize your comment, and shout you out like where I can. Like, obviously we have Patreon tiers, that's what everyone does, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you've given your time, whether that's working a menial labor job, which is obviously, we've all been there, they're tough, and you're working a 10-hour shift. And as someone, I think PRDL12 said that they were working a long shift, and you choose me to listen to, and all of us as a cast, that's a big deal. That's your time, and your time is precious, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. So we appreciate it. Haley Clark, where did the inspo for the word sturgeon come from? My little romantic British seaside self hopes it had something to do with a little seaside town. That's funny. So I I am also British, not near the seaside. It actually did come from just the idea. So a couple things. The name it was a good mouthfeel. Sturgeon just sounded good. I didn't want something that was spooky in nature, if only because one day I might not want to write horror anymore. I might want to write fantasy or sci-fi, which I already kind of branch out, but like, I just liked Sturgeon. I had this idea, actually, I must admit. It came from Little Lamplight, not Little Lamplight, that's Fallout 3, just Lamplight, which was like an SCP tale of this community living on a dead anglerfish. I was like, oh, it's so cool. And I started developing the idea of just like, what if, like, you know, when you look out, Sturgeon is just a dead eldritch being, you know what I mean? And the other idea that was like, I like fish it a lot, so I just thought Sturgeon sounds good. And then we'll make all the neighboring areas based in fish or like the seaside. So Coralla, Menosha County, Angleron. Like, I just thought, you know what I mean? That works for me. And I also I did want to capture some of the British sensibilities. British seaside towns, as you'll know, Haley, they are either very beautiful or they are very run down, and it can be quite a sad thing. And I wanted to capture that with the mixture of, and someone who's never actually been to like a major American city, but the municipalities, the busyness of like a New York City, and kind of put those together.
Right.
That was where I wanted it to come from. Also, Michal Greshko, thank you very much. I hope I said your name okay. Probably a terrible pronunciation. But thank you for the congratulations. Nearly at 4. And I didn't realize, Haley, that's nuts. That's how you met your fiance? Congratulations.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. That's crazy.
This community is so cool.
That is really sweet. Like that you can meet someone that way. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny, Luce, I don't know if you have this, like, I've heard a lot of stories like that, though, where, like, listeners and fans, they meet through the community together.
Yeah, I've definitely, I mean, a lot of the friends that I've made in this community, I've made just from forming connections and stuff, and you know, doing things like live streams and collabs and all that kind of stuff. And I like, for example, we wouldn't have met if I hadn't worked with the Dark Somnium. And
right.
Same for you. Like, it's sort of, it's cool how many interesting connections can be made from literally just reaching out through other people that you know, and
well, it's also Ronnie, right?
Who you can find.
Ronnie is.
Also, Ronnie's just great at facilitating that.
Yeah, we're trying to bully him into getting in. Like, he said he'd join us, but he is a very busy / forgetful friend, and we love him dearly.
Calling his bluff. We're
calling his bluff. He said, "Oh, let me know," and we're like, "Get in here." We'll see. We've got like another 30 minutes. We'll see if he joins.
Peer pressure him.
Yeah, if not, he will be on. I mean, I don't think we'll do another live stream on Dusklight until like 10,000. But he will be there for that one. I will force him. I have an idea. Well, one of my ideas, whether I'll sort of see when I get there. But I'm thinking at 10,000, I might do a an entire cast live reading of a Sturgeon story. Either one that I'll write for the channel or one that exists, depending on my time. But we would get like a whole cast together and we would do that as a celebration. Because 10,000 is a huge milestone. I mean, I was there when you hit yours, Luce, and I was so happy for you.
That was fun. That was fun. Yes.
10.6 thousand is nuts.
Live readings. We have we've done quite a few of those together at least. So I've got some good practice.
That is true. We have done a few live readings now for things like in the background like that we can't talk about, but yeah. Also, hi Sorcerer. And yeah, again, like it's kind of wild. Like so I looked at the the sub count and I was like, man, Demi really brought in a lot of people. Like, God bless Ronnie, because I said, hey man, is it cool if I use my spot just to plug Dusklight? Because like I have a feeling this story's gonna do well, and you know that man is a very giving individual. I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed he did, and I think that brought in over 1,000 people, like right off the bat. So like that's really cool, and it's gonna keep jumping up. And obviously that's where I was like putting pressure on myself to get content out with the PC dying, but it just didn't happen. Like, and like you guys know, I'm really am a stickler for quality. All 4 narrations I have planned are basically in different stages of being done, and like if I gave myself 3 hours tonight, they'll be ready. But I just don't want to put content out for you guys that isn't to the standard I want it to. I'm just a big believer in stuff, and I know Ronnie shares the same ethos. So, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. It's just, you know what's really cool? 17 concurrent viewers. That's cool to me. The last time I did anything like this would have been Twitch. When I live streamed my writing process for the last Sin Eater. For just for the fun of it. So people watch me write that in real time. I think I had like a good, 15 to 20 doing that, but I couldn't keep up with the schedule. And my anxiety was like, no, don't get up and perform today. You don't want to do it. Like, so I ended up just giving up on it. Oh, hey, Kevin Cruz Gordillo. Thank you very much, my friend. That's really kind. I
agree.
Yeah, take nothing for granted. I am very blessed, and it is through friendships, hard work, and humility. It could all be gone tomorrow. You just never know what's going to happen in life or your health or anything, and seize the day, carpe diem, as they say.
I just want to say, Kevin, I try to get TJ to hype himself up all the time, so I appreciate the backup. I'm always over here like, yeah, but you did it. It's on you though. Like.
I mean, I'm very proud of the stuff I've done, but I'm also just at a point where, like, I don't know. I like to toe the line. Like, I said this to my my mom the other day, that I believe I'm a very gifted writer and a talented voice actor, and I won't let anyone tell me I'm not. However, I do believe that there is a massive amount of room for growth. And if I didn't think that, I think I'd get bored. I think if I thought I'm already, top level, then what's the point in doing it, right? Like, I do believe I'm good, and I don't think I would be here if I wasn't. It's just more, I don't know, I kind of feel like there's other people I want to hype up. There are so many phenomenal colleagues I have in the horror space that, like, just deserve so much praise. I mean, people like, Her Creation, my friend Laura, who made an incredible set of series I'd love to adapt on here. Max Voynich, one of the most talented experimental horror writers from the UK, who did a great podcast called Happy and We Know It. Nick Bottick, who I did a story of his, The Interview, in the field. He just put out Daughter's Drawings. I would recommend checking that out. He's incredibly gifted. Hannah Costin, Newtown Jam, who did the Tenants series Survival Guide. I could go on and on and on. There's so many, but like, there are just so many talented people who I think, deserve that praise more than I do. Like, I think it's also imposter syndrome.
And the perfectionistic instinct,
Well, yeah, I'm someone who, if I make a mistake, of which I've made many, I have trouble looking past that when I want to praise myself.
Yeah.
Even if I've acknowledged the mistake and I've or the error and judgment and I've like moved past it, like little faux pas, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to praise myself when I'm like, yeah, but you know, it is how an anxious mind works. Oh, that's very kind, Haley. I wouldn't say I represent the UK in the horror community. I think if I was to give anybody that accolade, man, it'd probably be Gemma or more. Gemma is, oh my goodness, what talent she has. And that's a step above me. Like, obviously, I do the online stuff. Like, I've been doing this, you know, with the Expressionless all the way back in 2012. Man, that's crazy. My first narration on YouTube, outside of my own, was actually with the Volgun, the SCP narrator, way back when. This is a little fun little tidbit, but I did a thing called, I think it's just called the, is it called an interview? Hold on. I'll find the name of it. But what's crazy about that is that it has me, it has obviously Volgun, who is massive now, and it has Monica Franco, who is in Has Been Hotel. And we all were doing a bit of work together on that and a very old video on my channel about Smile Dog. It's kind of crazy how things come full circle like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I knew that, actually. That's
Monica is on the Smile Dog video, which I think is still up on my old channel. But she's just an insanely talented voice actor and actor in general. But no, I appreciate that though, Haley. Thank you. I think I've got a lot of work to do to represent the UK. And I hope I get there eventually. Right now, I am content putting out my little stories, doing narrations, and you know, building that rapport. I'm actually really proud of what I did on Pen Pal, which was Ronnie just released on Dark Somnium. Luce played an incredible Veronica, and I played Josh and Josh's dad. And I'm trying to do a lot more dynamic voice acting, which I realize isn't good for sleeping. Like, people tend to sleep to the videos, and I'm just there yelling and screaming. But
it's so good, though.
I was very happy with it. I was very happy with it. Sorcerer, do I like narrating over writing? Oh, I think it's 50-50. I think the joy I get from writing stories is probably the biggest thing I can experience as a dopamine rush. I just got back into the gym, and I'm going 4 times a week at the moment. I'm really pushing myself to lose weight, and there's a wonderful dopamine rush. Anyone who runs regularly or works out knows, like, the feeling of satisfaction, or even if like you if you're like me and perhaps like someone who's like not very tidy, and then you get the rush of you just need to clean, and you clean everything, and the feeling of satisfaction of having everything clean. Same sort of thing. Writing does that for me. Narration doesn't do that, but I get a lot of performance joy out of it. What about you, Luce?
I was just thinking about that too, actually. I sort of agree, although I don't know, writing is harder for me. I don't write as much as I can't write as much as I can narrate. Because I don't know, I can't focus enough personally to write my own stories. I'm not very good at coming up with ideas, so I use, you know, narrating other people's stories as sort of inspiration of sorts to help keep me being creative without having to write anything myself. But yeah, no, I think there's a sense of satisfaction that comes from both. That it's like, it is different, but I don't know, me personally, I don't know if I prefer one over the other. It's just the feeling of having like created something and putting it out there and having people enjoy it is like so nice.
Yeah.
Even if you create it just for you and you enjoy it, like that's also great. For me, I think it's just because I'm also a perfectionist. I never 100% satisfied with anything that I create, but if other people enjoy it, then I feel like it's worth having done it, just to have it out there. So I think that helps. I think definitely there's also something to be said for writing something and then narrating it. It's like a mix of both. So
when you narrate something you've written, that's a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Because you know how it should sound, right? Like, you know exactly. Like, when I did Demi, oh my god, I was in tears, like, by the end of it. Because I knew what it was, right? But can I just say, gang, by the way, I just want to drop in, and I'm going to read the chat in just a moment. Lucy is an incredible writer. And my 2024 goal for Luce is to write more. Luce has a story up on Spirit Voices. That is a Spirit Voices original, and I would like all of you to go and check it out if you could. It is called The Deep. It's 20 minutes. It is stunning, and I love those. I want to write one, but like those kind of stories, like those stories where you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, like, you know, the sailor's like, there be some real problems out there in the deep water.
Direct quote, yeah.
Yeah. You know, those kinds of like, you know, you don't go out when the fog be heavy. I love
Some
stuff like that.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
A little bit, yeah. You're in one now. Yeah, so Alex knows what we're talking about. Like, but yeah, I would say like, it's a 50-50. I wouldn't want to give up either one of them. I love bringing stories to life in a way that, like, you know, when writers hear their stories on Dark Somnium, they already know they're going to get the most immersive experience they can. Because of the way Ronnie does his sound design. So I know if I'm being trusted to play a character, whether, you know, regardless of what it is, I'm going to give it my all. And obviously I'm lucky that I'm able to do different accents and different styles, which a lot of people can't do. So yeah, I'm going to absolutely, you know, put everything into it. Okay, so hey people, first time here, love the stuff. Thank you so much, man. Like, I hope you're having a good day and a great weekend. Mr. Awesome, do you think you will try to animate or turn you right into a live action? A
tricky question.
What can I say? Yes. Let's say yes, and we'll leave that yes in the air to be interpreted. Yes. Big Daddy Stone. Oh, man. Okay, something else. I know that a lot of us, we all share subscribers. I know this. If you somehow aren't subscribed to Big Daddy Stone, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on now. Like, did you hear this? Did you hear that my voice is getting deeper? It's getting deeper because Big Daddy Stone entered the chat. Like, I am having a deep off right now. Like, do you understand as an assigned male, to sit in a recording session with Big Daddy Stone, Dr. Creepin, Let's Read, The Dark Somnium, and Vidith, and then there's just me with my prepubescent teenage boy voice, and then there's all these like, and then I went over there and saw what they were doing, and it made me feel. I'm just like, oh, okay, my beard is gonna get even thicker just being around y'all. Okay, I see how it is. Like, Big Daddy Stone is such a good narrator.
I understand. It's because we were talking about my story, The Deep.
Yeah.
Summoned him.
Oh my. Yes.
He's like, oh, okay, I can challenge that.
Again, though, like, Big Daddy Stone exemplifies everything you want in someone who you collaborate with. Like, constantly supportive, always shouting out. Reminded me, I just need to get back to him on the DMs, so I'm going to do that. Because you will hopefully at some point hear Big Daddy Stone on a project, very soon. But man, what a gifted individual. If I could have Big Daddy Stone on every video I do, I would. If our time schedules worked. Yeah, I don't want to. Let me put it this way: I don't want to succeed if Big Daddy Stone isn't succeeding. And already at 6.11 subs, 6.11 thousand. So loving it. Okay, from Michael. Is it Mikal? I'm not sure. I usually see horror narrations always fun when someone walks to my room during day, night shift worker, and hears screaming or demonic voices. Yeah, no, they're definitely not going to be concerned about that, Mikal, if you're like just vibing and then they just hear like me just doing inward screaming noises as I try to take a soul back to Gehenna.
It's like, what's the problem?
It's easy listening. Well, to be fair, there are many millions of people now sleep to like true crime, right? That's like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of like, yeah, I guess it's not. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I listen to Exploring every night, Exploring series. Mang Mang, he's just someone that I just find very peaceful to listen to. He's really helping me learn my Warhammer 40k lore at the moment. So, like, I get it. Like, just depends. Okay. Alex, yeah. So, yeah, few narrators did it. Absolutely. That's why it's such a good story. Kaya, what was your reason that started you on the path of being an author? How long you got?
Let's strap in, you
guys.
Well,
I'm gonna throw this to Lucy as well afterwards, so that it's not just me talking. I would say, my very first writing memory was my mom giving me a typewriter when I was about 5, and I'm pretty sure, I might be dating myself here, but I think Super Smash Brothers came out the following year, the original. 96, I'm pretty sure it came out. I could be... Oh, no, 99. Oh, my God, no. So I was 8. So, yeah, I wrote a couple fan stories, like, from Dragon Ball Z, and then I just started doing it. And, I wrote this story about Ness, because I didn't know about Earthbound as a kid. You couldn't get it on the SNES where I was at. Loved the story, just, fell in love with his psychic powers and started writing stupid stories. And then I won a writing contest when I was, 12, which made the papers. Did a lot of fanfic on Newgrounds, did, Battle Royale-inspired stories. I was really active on Newgrounds as a teenager. Even went to a live meetup with Tom Fulp and a bunch of the other guys. It was really fun in London. I was I don't know, 16, 17. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then kind of just dabbled in it. Did writing at university. Wrote the expression list. That was an overnight hit. I was terrified and I stopped writing for a few years because I didn't know how to handle it. And then, I got back into it, thanks to, I don't know if I can say, well, I can say this much, a well-known producer, got in touch with me and told me he really liked the story, wanted to do something with it. That gave me the boost to be oh, actually, maybe I'm good at this. And that was 2018, April 2018. By the end of 2019, I started writing again, and that was the story. Also, Sorcerer, BDS is Big Daddy Stone. It doesn't mean anything else, I swear. Don't think of it that way. That's just his acronym. A aesthetic wife is just doing the hug. I believe it's the hug emoji. Is that the hug emoji? I can't tell.
The dab emoji.
Oh, is it? I can't see on my screen. I'm dual monitoring. I'm blind as a bat. But yeah, that was what basically started me on the path. And the books I read were Terry Pratchett books. Terry Pratchett books were the stuff that really kind of got me into that kind of style of writing as well. So yeah. What about you, Luce? What about you with narrating and performing?
Man, I can't believe that I have to follow that up because that was so sweet. I don't know. I didn't really have a reason for getting into writing. I just sort of always liked it, and I had the gift as a child to not have the self-awareness that I do now of what is considered, for example, cringy.
Right.
I as a kid, I just did whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't have any. I hadn't developed anxiety yet, you see, so I didn't have any, opinion on what other people thought of what I did. I just sort of did it. So it was great practice for getting through, the early years of writing and singing and talking all the time, constantly. My poor parents, I'm sure, were very overwhelmed at all times. But yeah, so because I have I'm sentimental. I'm also a little bit of a hoarder. I keep all of my childhood belongings.
That's cute.
And I have a giant bin of all of my childhood things in it. So I have a book that I made in I want to say kindergarten.
Right.
That I did for a project or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I put so much effort into it because and I kept this throughout all of my school years. I put so much effort into every single project I ever did because I'm that kind of overachieving student. I was the student that everyone was like, God damn it, you need to chill because you're making me look bad. So I've been writing for as long as that even. And thankfully, to the point I am now, I've practiced enough that I'm actually I could consider myself somewhat good at it. narrating is about the same way. There's a video of me when I was like 6 reading books out loud, pestering my mom to let me read books out loud. I was always a reader, and now I'm a burnt out gifted kid, so I don't read anymore.
I wouldn't say you're a burnt out gifted kid. You still work in a capacity that does that.
Yeah, on something. Narrating stayed with me, I think, which is good. And I say that knowing full well that I haven't posted on my channel in quite a while now. But still, narrating has always been fun. I just didn't really realize I could even have a chance of doing it in a somewhat professional capacity until more recently. So I just kind of assumed it would always be something I read my own work aloud to my friends, and that's it. But it's been very fun proving myself wrong by putting stuff out there and having people say that I could do more. So, so yeah, I don't know. My answer basically stems from I just did it and it worked. It just worked. It just worked out.
I got you. We're switching up the playlist because that one ended. These are obviously not monetized because they're not monetized. But this second playlist, the relaxing ambient stuff you might hear, if you do Nightmare Detectives, this is coming from the Nobody channel, which compiles just some gorgeous ambient music and puts them all together. And I find it very soothing as well. So as we move into the second phase of our stream, we're going to have some chilled stuff on. Okay. Steven. Oh, man. Steven, I have seen you supporting from the sidelines through so many people's channels. Mine, Dark Somniums, Romnex's, Big Daddy Stones. You are like...
Mine too.
And Luce's. Just such a great sport. And I really appreciate it. And I saw your comment on Demi as well, man. Like, thank you so much. It greatly appreciated. And, yeah, I know Luce has been quiet. You know, the spirit voices has got to make a return at some point. But I think you just got a lot on. You got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, you guys. Listen, I'm okay. For various reasons, it is difficult for me to put content out too consistently. But
yeah.
Listen, I've been working on, the stuff that's going on in this channel because I know I'm still putting something out there, which is gratifying. So I'm not like gone from YouTube. I'm still working over here.
You're just taking your time, right?
Yeah, eventually the thing is, doing work with you, because we're both working on it, it's a little bit easier. But at some point I will have the time to actually go back to doing my own work as well, on top of it, because I do love putting stuff out on YouTube. But
I'm willing to bet it'll be the holiday season.
It's a little hard. It might be.
Yeah.
It might be. I feel like I can at least do like something.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh, BS artist. Except I forgot to say hi as well. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming into the live stream. And it'll be Spirit Voices is the channel. Again, like Luce has been doing that longer than I've been doing Dusklight. It's there's some good stuff of mine on there. There's actually I don't think anyone else has done it yet. Hey there, Eliza. Maybe someone's done.
Yeah, it's such a good story.
That's a creepy story. I did.
I had so much fun with Hey There, Eliza. If you guys haven't listened to that yet,
I don't like hearing you crying though. That much I will say. I did not like that.
That's fair. That's fair. It was fake tears, but
yes.
It's
thankfully
still fun to do. Yeah, definitely is a creepy story.
See, that's the thing. Luce is there. Like Luce is the subscription is the equivalent. Yeah, Luce is the equivalent of I'm in your walls, but it's on YouTube. Like you go and check, and it's like boom, you're already subscribed.
Yes, I show up in various different places. I've been on several. I have a playlist of collabs that I've been a part of, and it's so long, and I always forget how long it is until I look at it. And I've just shown up. It's like over 100 videos at this point.
I honestly forget how many I've done for Ronnie.
5 or something like that, and just on top of the Dark Somnium and Dusklight Radio, I've
actually
a bunch of places, so definitely there are people who know who I am without knowing.
Yeah, who I am. I was just thinking, like, I don't know how many videos I've done for Ronnie, because I'm in most videos Ronnie does now. Like normally, we'll get the videos ready and then we'll put them out, and I don't even know how many I've done now. Like, there's a few that stick out because of, like, the performance I've done, but I think I've done well over 100 for Ronnie now in that sense. Like, and I'm very blessed. Like, anytime he asks me, obviously, it's become a regular thing, because I think we've looked at the landscape, and I think having a dynamic voice acting team on YouTube is a new thing. I think, it's not new in the horror narration space, but it's new on YouTube, and having that is giving a bit more variety, and I'm hoping to keep doing that with Ronnie. But yeah, same here in that sense. I probably wouldn't remember everything I've done now. Also, No Name November, that's a classic. We should adapt that. Maybe I'll do that at some point for Dusklight, because that would be a good idea. And Kaio, thank you very much. Thank you so much for being here, and for just being such a great support for everyone who supports, man. It's so appreciated. I wish we could do a longer live stream. I'll probably go do another 15 minutes or so. We will probably do another one like soon. I mean, if we grow the way we're growing, man. I mean, man, I don't even want to think about it. We get 10,000. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts in that respect. And Stephen, yeah, I hope you enjoyed Pen Pal. I really hope I hope that was something that spoke to you. Like, the performance at the end of that was, as I've said earlier, it was really challenging. But man, I would love to add Vidith in. I got a lot of love for Vidith. Really talented voice actor. Yanks as well, who's been in a few of Dark Summons videos. I've worked with Creepin before. Creepin is one of the UK's best, man. I mean, him and Nature's Temper, just stunning performers. Cannot say enough good things about them. So yeah, there's a lot of good people out there. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think Luce, are you still with me? No, okay, the connection may be a little bit screwed. That's okay. You still got me, which is probably for the best, because I'm the one running the stream. But, so yeah, we will have content back up. I would love to say tomorrow. Like, my rule is that for anyone who's on the Patreon, if you've paid any of the tiers, then you're going to get early. And I like to make sure I honor that. So, like, this stream is an example, exception to the rule. But next up is probably going to be a Sturgeon original, which is me and Lucy. That should be up on... Oh, you're back. That should be up on Sunday, if I can get it up on Patreon tomorrow. And then I'll let you know the rest of the schedule. Bay Buster has done something of mine. I don't know what it was. There's a lot of people that have done stuff of mine that I, like, not to make it awkward, but haven't signed off on, that then I've gone back and, spoke to them and worked it out and stuff like that, which, you guys know the stories of how it goes with writers versus YouTubers, which is why I prefer doing my own content, unless it's a friend's. I don't ever want to get into those sticky situations, but he was cool. I remember him being cool about it in the end, I think, if that's what I'm thinking of, and I think he was fine in the long run. I can't say anything yet, but there's a lovely collaborator in the online horror space that I'm working with, that wants a bunch of my stories, some of which have not been put out before, so, hey, you never know, you guys might be having a new avenue, but for all the places my work goes, I just really want Dusklight to be something special, something that people can go, oh yeah, these stories are out here, there, and everywhere, but, the lore, that stuff is here. That's why I want to try and do a few more original skits, getting Everett in the booth whenever he has time and he's not berating me about my crayons and whatnot. Nothing to apologize for, Aesthetic Wife. It's okay. Like, it's just a thing. Like, honestly, stuff like that does not bother me. It's business. There are YouTubers who shall not be named, who are not on the platform that did steal things, and that's different. Baybuster, I remember that being fine. I don't recall anything dodgy on that. I think it was just like a misunderstanding. Mostly it's TikTok that takes stuff now. It is what it is. But yeah, it's just one of those things. What can you do? So yeah, welcome back, Luce.
No, thanks. Sorry, I dropped out for a second. I heard some very severe roboting from your end, and
Oh, okay.
Now we're back. I was sitting here waiting for my computer to catch up.
I may watch a little bit of film theory, Sorcerer. We both may dabble a little bit in that. We also like Markiplier. So just the lore. It's just a good thing to say. Just yeah. I would say if me and Luce were to be linked under any YouTuber / like IP, it'd be the brothers, the good brothers, my brother and me.
Oh my god, yes.
That's probably our one thing. When we get bored, we will, if we're both having a rough day and we get on call, we will just send each other or stream our favorite Mabam Bam skits. Because like there's just something about them in the Adventure Zone. They're just funny.
So good.
I actually don't believe that there would be a Sturgeon without the Adventure Zone.
Yeah. Heavy inspiration.
I think, like, you know, balance is, I think that's like one of the most important, like, things, like, I've ever listened to in terms of, you know, the way I DM years later, but also, like, I got the idea for the bar series, the Spaces in Between, came directly from hearing Balance, weirdly enough. Like, there's not a lot of similarities, but it just, that really pushed me in that direction. So maybe I should be sending Griffin McElroy some royalty checks. But yeah, it's kind of wild in that sense. Just like being here is wild. Like to have 20 concurrent viewers, that's just kind of nuts. That's kind of nuts to me. You know, I find stuff like that, like, I mean, we could have literally had, like, to me, we could have literally had, like 10, or not 5, that'd be great. And also, Aesthetic Wife, thank you so much, man. That you didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. That is very kind of you. I wish I knew Afrikaans so I could say it, like in your tongue, but that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you. I've said this many times before. Anything like that, whether it's the Patreon or saying thanks, like, you guys, anytime you do that, that's always great. I'm always grateful. You never have to. Your presence here is a gift in itself. Which is so cheesy. So cheesy. Hey guys, remember to smash that like button on your way out, and don't forget to check out other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Like, I mean, it's
cheesy but true.
It's also
cheesy but true.
Can we agree though how hard it is to like promote yourself without it being cringe? Like, how hard is it to like avoid doing the things that you're watching and go, oh, that's cringe. Like, you can't help it. You have to do some of it, right? It's so challenging.
Yeah. No. When I first put out Patreon, I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this. And then I immediately realized that was not going to work.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't talk about it too much.
It's really hard because you feel gross, right? You do feel a little bit like, me and Luce talked about it. I was like, I don't know if I'm a small channel, should I be doing this? And obviously my one rule was, if I do a Patreon, it's super important that listeners, especially in my country at least, I'm sure it's the same in America and a lot of places. Oh, hang on one second. Bayadanki. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, there you go. Bayadanki. That's dope. I'm gonna remember that. Thank you very much. Yeah, in my country, there's a massive cost of living crisis. It's the worst in Europe at the moment. I know in America, things are struggling. Like, I don't ever want people to feel like they are responsible for my financial future, but also, like, that they have to buy something for FOMO, right? Like, if most people, like, I think, like, most people are like, okay, you know what, I can wait a couple days for a new content. Yeah, there's some exclusive stuff, but it will eventually come onto the channel. I don't want anyone who is just wanting to be a good supporter to feel like they have to part with what dollars they have. I would rather they spend those dollars on food for their family, or, like, anything they need for work or whatever. Like, I should be an expense, like expendable sort of situation in that. I am always going to be here. And I think that's the important line. And Alex is right. I didn't want to. I want that to be a really, I think it's something that's nice for listeners. And I've got an IP that people want to access. I've got books and there's stuff there. There's a reason to do it, but not at the expense of turning away listeners who are like, I don't have the money and I feel like I'm being pressured. I will put it in the chat. I'll always put it in a post saying, hey guys, the video's up on Patreon, but it's going to be here tomorrow. But yeah, yeah. I know what you mean though, Luce. It's an awkward line to walk.
Yeah, and I like Alex is right. I didn't want to either. I said it too in comments. I was like, oh, sure, like because people would be like, do you have a Patreon? And I'm like, no. I don't know. Is that a thing I can do? Every day I think about shutting it down because I'm not even posting anything at the moment, and I'm like, I should just close this. And then I just it is hard to even just have it up without even promoting it. Sometimes it's just like hard to remember, right? That's a thing that people to do and choose to be a part of. And but it's also, I don't know, it's gratifying in a sense that we would even be close to a priority for people to...
It's always really cool, like the books are there, and there's lots of ways of supporting me, but honestly the best way of supporting is just being active on the channel. A comment or a like, that's the simplest way, and it doesn't cost anything. And that way, for someone, I think I would have a genuine anxiety attack if a listener, God bless them, said, hey, I don't have a lot of money and I need this for bus fare, but I want to give it to you. I'm like, I would refund it. I'd be like, no, please don't do that. I have been dirt poor before, like and I know what it's like to be a fan of someone, but like, I love you guys, but your money has got loads of places to go, and it's important that someone tells you that. But maybe we'll try and do, I don't know, Luce, maybe, I mean, with the amount, like, there's, it's nice to get 20 concurrent people in and whatnot here in the Inside process. Maybe we'll try and do like a stream, I don't know, maybe once every month, like where we'll do like part of it on the Patreon, and then just bring the other half over here. So like, like maybe some specific stuff can be on there, and, just because it'd be nice to catch up with everybody, even if it's like once a month or so. And it'd be interesting to see where we'll be in a month, but
yeah. Well, if you guys are wondering why the date of the stream has changed so many times, it is largely because of my insane schedule that changes daily and hourly.
I also got sick.
So did I. So so it was a whole it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But we're here now, I guess is the point. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you miss this one, like if because I know I can already see the comments from some of the regular commenters being like, oh, I missed it. And it's okay. We'll be back. It'll be fine. Because it is fun. It is fun getting to talk to everyone and also check in, even if it is a little bit anxiety-inducing to be on the proverbial stage while we're doing it. But, like, it's still fun, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my other half of what I do is, like, I do, like, acting on the stage, like Shakespeare plays and stuff, and I do professional wrestling, which I adore that. I don't talk about it very much, like, just because generally just don't, but like I commentate for a lot of different places, and I get to go a lot of places. So, like performing out like in this, it's not too scary for me. It's mostly just making sure that I get to talk to everybody. That's more important to me. Haley, in answer to your question, Sorcerer. Yeah, don't ever feel left out, my friend. Like, you, as I said, majority of content will always be on the channel. There's some stuff, like, for example, certain Patreon subscribers get like these exclusive one-shots on the campaigns. They will come out they'll come on the channel eventually, but they'll come out when they are canonically ready. So like the first one will probably be in about, I don't know, 2-3 months. But it's not necessary to the lore or anything. It's just like a little bonus. Everything else is more just stuff like shout outs, which I can do here on the stream so people don't feel left out. I want to always make sure that, people who pay get something they feel is worth their money. That's super important. If you've given me any of your hard-earned money, but at the same time, I don't want people feeling like, oh man, I've got to pay. Like, no, you don't. You really don't.
It's a balance.
It's a balance. And it's hard.
Sorcerer, like, when I started my YouTube channel, I was a student. So I get it. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was. I was a student for the majority of my YouTube career. That's a weird.
No, it is a career, but it is a career.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so don't, yeah. And exactly like you've said, like it's not something that you should feel pressured to do. It's just if you want to,
Yeah.
and you feel committed to staying with it, that's great. But it's nothing that we will ever, well, definitely not force upon people, but even really with the two of us, like we don't even necessarily encourage it. We're just like, it's here if you want it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It'll be advertised without it being aggressive advertisements. Because like I also can't monetize a lot of my videos. I made the decision that I would utilize sound design that maybe would catch monetization flags. So like the channel's not going to make a lot of money anyway. It's tiny. But like right now, you know, that's where any financial bonuses, they come through Patreon, and that's fine. And I'm very happy with what I've got. Like I'm doing this more for fun than like I am financially. I have a job, you know what I mean? Like I'm good. You know, so right now it's not for that. If it ever turns into a job, that's fucking great. But you know,
right.
So yeah, Haley, the Patreon is on the channel. Lucy can pop it in the chat for you. There's a few different tiers. I don't want to go on about too much because again, don't want to be preachy with it. But the basic tier basically means you get everything early, essentially. Yeah, BS artist. Yeah, so acting and wrestling actually go very hand in hand. I have a lot of friends now who are transitioning from there. I've got some buddies who are in a show. It's actually coming to Australia. It's called Mythos, and a couple of my very good friends, very close friends in the business, are in that show. They are phenomenal performers, phenomenal wrestlers, phenomenal actors. I've gotten to see them live. They're currently selling out Edinburgh Fringe over and over and over again. I just can't believe their success. I have another friend who is, I don't know if I should, his acting name is Richard Summers Calvet, or Calvert, excuse me, and he does a lot of acting now. I think he's on some YouTube ads as well, but he's one of the biggest and most popular wrestlers in the UK. You know, there's an avenue there for it. And I'm so blessed to be around talented people because iron sharpens iron. So I like to think that I'm a talented person, but in most rooms I walk into, I'm probably in the middle level. And that's a good thing for me because it gives me things to aspire towards. It's like, man, I'm a good writer, but look at my colleagues. I got to get to that level, or voice acting or wrestling. So, but wrestling is so good for voice acting. You have to train your voice to go long term. You have to be beat for beat on point. You have to be aware of who's going to listen to it. For any wrestling fans out there, I got to call the very first Ring of Honor world title match on Danish soil, February of last year with Jonathan Gresham. Incredible moment. And I got that by, you know, just busting my ass, you know, and getting there. Like, people who I've gotten to call matches for in WWE and AEW now, and Impact, and it's awesome. But, you know, by doing that, I have to strengthen my voice, and, you know, that means doing stuff like this. So, yeah, I'm going to let Lucy speak in a minute, because I'm dominating quite a bit. But, Mikhail said, a question, if for you as narrators, there is something that gives you instant gratification, like, for example, painters who get that feeling from adding highlights and lighting to their work. Yeah, I'd say the gratification writing-wise is, I'll share, Lucy sees most of my work, and I'll share it to Luce, and Luce reacting in like, oh my god, or like getting into it, that's a gratification moment.
I do that.
Yeah. The same with voice acting, just when someone, like Ronnie just hit me up, if any of you have checked out Pen Pal, I did the dad, Josh's dad at the end, I also did Josh, and I'm very proud of my performance, and Ronnie gave me congratulations on that. You know, it was a specific piece that I went to a really dark place to do, and I'm very proud of that. So that's it for me, is getting, like, especially with Demi's Adventure, I couldn't read all of them because it got too much, but the amount of people saying, my loved one died from dementia, and I agree with you, and my hat's off to you. I got very, very, very few negative messages, which I was expecting. You know, I respect anyone's religious beliefs, but I did think some people were like, no, that's God's decision. But most people were like, you know what? I really admire your openness with the right to die, the humanist view, and especially with the terrible disease. And it was just very cool. So those are my instant gratification bits, Mikhail. What about you, Luce?
Yeah, I would say for me, I have a hard time just in my brain sort of conceptualizing how everything will sound when it's put together, or how everything will look when it's put together. And I have a bad habit of being the perfectionist that I am, seeing like an incomplete thing that I'm doing and being like, this sucks because it's not put together yet. Of course, that's why it doesn't feel complete. It's not. But I have a bad habit of just, downplaying an incomplete thing that I'm doing. And so I think for me, the gratification comes when it starts to come together, because then I'm like, it's sort of, I feel really bad about it. I feel like it's not done, it's not right. And then the second I kind of go past that point and I can see the completed vision, or hear in this case the completed vision, I'm like, wait, okay, all right, now I get it. And then I start feeling proud of it, which isn't always great for my motivation, but it's it's very it's very gratifying for me to hear everything as a completed work, I think, especially when I'm making videos for my channel where there's music and sound design on top of the voice acting parts of it. It makes me just feel a lot of different emotions coming together when I listen back to it and it is complete. Everything is put together. If I'm just doing a collab or something, when the other person's lines are in it, and so we're going back and forth, and I can hear it. That is when I start to feel proud of myself. Is when I can just look back at what I've done and be like, this is the whole thing that I did, and this was my vision from the beginning, and it actually came together. So I have a hard time feeling it until that point, which can be a little rough sometimes. But then when I get there, I'm like super.
Oh no, my OBS disconnected. Wait, am I still live? It says it disconnected. Oh, how strange. Okay.
I was gonna say, it looks like you are.
Yep, that was weird. All right, well, it lasted all of 10 seconds. We're back. We'll probably go for 10-15 loose, and then good. Wrap up there. Yeah. Finish up.
Also, I was gonna say, I would like permission before I do this, just in case.
Oh.
Mikal, could I promote you? Can I have permission to promote you really quick? Just let me know, because I will be posting the link to your page, if so, but only if you say it's okay.
All right, we'll find out in a moment. There's a short delay. But yeah, no, I know what you mean with the gratification. Like the thing I'm working on, but what I can say is it's my first full-length novel. It isn't first-person writing. It's not first-person horror. It's experimental. I've kind of moved on. I still do first-person every now and then, but I guess I'm the kind of artist that needs to be stimulated and motivated. So it just you spend years cranking out 2 million words in one first-person. You get a little bit bored of it. Like, I'm gonna finish Sturgeon. I'm gonna finish the NFC season 2. We are doing that. That is happening with Ronnie. We're just figuring out our time, but once that's done and the Sturgeon that saga is done, I'm still gonna do Sturgeon stories, obviously, but I'm gonna get weird with it. That's kind of how I look at it. It's gonna get weird, and Luce knows what I'm talking about. But that book has taken me longer than anything else. So just a small sidebar: when I wrote the Bar series, I wrote all of that in a month and a half. When I wrote The Last Sunita, I wrote all of that in 30 days. Both of those are novellas. This book is taken me 18 months. It's the biggest thing I've ever worked on. And the older I'm getting and the better I'm getting, I would say, I'm becoming more and more careful. I'd still say I'm a perfectionist. I give myself a 3 rewrite rule, but because I know that what I'm doing has the capacity to go very, very far, that's all I can really say. I know it's going to a different audience. I need it to be perfect. I would prefer to just put it out on Dusklight or Ronnie stuff, but I can't. This is work, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Sorry, Luce, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to jump in really quick. I was reminded of it in the question when Mikhail said, painters who are adding lighting and stuff. Mikhail is such a good artist, like so good.
Ooh, okay.
And the art for the Dark Somnium, like his profile picture, and then some of the art on my channel.
That's him?
Yeah.
Yo!
Yeah. It's so
Mikhail,
good.
you are so talented, my guy.
So I'm putting the DeviantArt link in the chat because...
Oh my god, absolutely. I will be checking that shit out.
It's
Sir
really,
Gorky.
really good.
Is it Sir Gork or Sir Gorky?
I think...
We'll find out.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, really, really talented.
Okay, that's awesome. Maybe I'll commission at some point. Alex, don't worry. I don't mean finish Sturgeon permanently. Sturgeon is not ending. It's never going to end. This current story I've been telling... so I was meant to finish this saga in 2021. Probably, no, more like 2022. Obviously, what happened with my dad happened. I had to take the break. And it just didn't happen. I need to finish it. I'm never going to leave it unfinished. I would never do that. It's just that there's other things pulling at me, which, they pay my bills. I have to kind of focus on those first. But the Nell saga, I would say, like Nell, the cycle, all that stuff is going to end, and we're going to tell another story in Sturgeon. It's never going to end fully. That block, because at this point, it's, I added it all up. It's 6 novellas and a huge collection, and I'm going to release one big book, maybe 2, but probably going to try to do it in one big, like, Lovecraft-sized tome that I will basically, I'll need to find out how much it's going to cost me to make them as leather-bound books and stuff, and we'll figure out how to market it. But that has always been the plan, and then I will take a small break from that, and then we will start telling the next story in Sturgeon. So don't you worry, it's not ending. I would never shoot my own cash cow like that, and also my main source of inspiration. Heike, how do you handle the challenge of pacing in your narrations? What advice would you give to aspiring narrators to maintain tension throughout a story? Pacing is a tough one. I have been reading stuff like this for a long time, so I'm someone who is very... Every narrator is different, so is every writer. I just kind of, I look at the sentence, I look at the paragraph, and I'm like, alright, is this a setup? Is the character in distress? Is this action? And if it's, the latter, then I'm like, alright, read it quicker. Boom, boom, boom. You get the pace up, you get the emotion up. Whereas if it's an emotional moment, I will pause. And again, I will openly say, I do, both myself and Luce, we don't read the typical way. If I'm commissioned to read something, or if I'm paid from Audible to do something, I will do it the way they want it, which means I will read it. Ronnie is the consummate professional. Can't stress enough. The consummate professional. People can, say, the emotion stuff. And I think Ronnie's perfectly emotional. But Ronnie understands the aesthetic of how to read these books and stories in a way that makes them accessible to everybody. And he doesn't tire himself out. I definitely go a different and more tiring route. But yeah, that's how I would try and do the pacing. I just kind of take my time, and when you're starting out early on, feel confident in it. Do it as many times as you need to. Some people like to do it all with the flubs and then take the flubs out. I don't. I will flub, I'll stop, I'll go back, I'll delete, and you get really used to it really quickly. What about that, Lucy? What would you say?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind if you are wanting to do it for yourself is just know that it's going to change. Because, you may start out narrating one way, and without even, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, because I think there are, times where you will do both, it will shift into either, what you feel more comfortable doing at that time, or, if you take inspiration from a different narrator who does it a way you prefer, or something like that. It's just going to change. It's just sort of how it goes, whether it's from practice or just, just the general passage of time. Because I listen to my older stuff, and of course, how I started out is a little bit different just because I'd never done it before. But even when I considered myself more practiced and more experienced, my pacing was really slow, and I really liked it at the time. And now I listen to some of my newer stuff, and it's still slow in comparison, because audiobooks are a different format. They want you to read it faster paced, but it is faster than what I used to do. And now I listen to my really slow ones, and I'm like, oh my god, god, like why did I do it like that? So it's gonna shift no matter what. I think that's just sort of how it works when you're practicing and learning how everything works and how you want things to sound, and it'll just change based on your preferences. So I think, so I guess what I'm saying is don't put too much thought into it. Just do it the way that you're comfortable doing it, and over time it'll adapt into whatever you need it to be. And I think, I think if you spend too much time analyzing everything, and of course everybody's different, some people really like doing that, but I think generally speaking, if you spend too much time analyzing everything and being so worried about how it's going to be interpreted and read into, it can become less fun. It becomes more of a chore than a passion thing, and just do whatever you can do to keep it a passion thing, I guess is my main advice.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're going to burn yourself out, and it's just not going to be fun anymore, and you're going to realize, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
Like I somewhere along the way, this has become something I don't want to do. And I'm not really speaking from personal experience. I still really enjoy doing it, but it's just something that you can find yourself getting stuck in really quickly if you're not careful.
Oh, I would agree. I think that's a really, really apt point, and like I definitely could start to do more pacing. The stuff you're going to hear on the Dustlight Drive-In, actually almost everything lately is going to be loose heavy. There's going to be a big Spirit Voices presence. So I will, for you guys, you're going to get a treat. I'm going to let you know something. So the Dustlight Drive-In, the two stories that we are going to be doing both have a lot of loose in them. Yay. So, for example, because I'm just a big fan of original science fiction, and I'm worried about it losing. I have a big concern that one day people are going to forget how good Golden Age science fiction was, so I want to try and keep it alive. And again, it gives Dusklight a little bit of diversification. So Spaceborne by Robert Bloch. Robert Bloch, most people know who he is. He was such a tour de force as a writer. And Luce is playing Kiva in that. But in Earth Surrenders by Barbara Poole, now that one most people don't know, that's got Dark Somnium and it's got Spirit Voices. Luce is playing the lead role. And you will hear the difference in how I do my pacing in story one versus Luce does. And I think it is a preference thing, and I completely understand people choosing Luce's pace over my own, because I am a bit of I'm a stumbler. I stumble over my words a lot, and I kind of find my own pacing cadence, whereas Luce will take their time. Will absolutely take their time and go through it bit by bit. And that's what makes it fun, though. I think having a different narrator for one half of the video is cool. So, yeah, it's nice. And, yeah, we'll see about leather books and the hardbacks. There is a hardback of my Velox collection, things they take away. I still have not got a copy. I should really get on that. But maybe at some point I'll do a hardback for my other books that exists in the current space. I actually, as a sidebar, I have to announce this separately. I am going to be putting up the NFC book in the next sort of couple weeks. The reason it didn't go up is Amazon, how do I put this politely? They fucked it. They fucked it before, and they fucked it again. And this is the third time, and I got really frustrated because the amount of people that were subscribed to pre-order was a lot, and when it failed, they all lose their pre-order, and I was like, I can't be bothered with this. And then obviously a lot of personal stuff hit the fan, so I'm gonna make sure it's fully edited, and then it's gonna go up, and I'll probably do it at a discounted rate. Everyone will get get an early copy, and then we'll go from there. But I was so frustrated that the hardback, the physical copies were not there. Like, I was so annoyed that the NFC couldn't go out when it did. But we'll get on that, and then that's the 4 main Sturgeon books done. And Alex, I hope you enjoy the hardback for the things I take away. I hope it was I haven't actually seen the interior and the presentation and whatnot. I trust Velox did a really good job with it. That's a lot of my standalone stories. There's some Sturgeon stuff in there as well, but I had a lot of fun with that. It's kind of a fun time for it. But yeah, man. All right, we're gonna start wrapping up in the next few minutes. Did a little bit longer than I thought, but you know what? To get 16 to 23 concurrent viewers, I'm calling that a victory.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is very cool. Any final thoughts, Luce, as we wrap up here?
No, I mean, mostly just kind of what we say every time, just like to everyone who is here now, but also just supports us regularly. And everyone who's here for the first time who just decided to take a chance on it. Like, thank you for being here. Like, it's we've said this before, actually, in the same stream, but just the people who are constantly, you know, engaging with us and leaving us really nice comments and liking our videos and everything. Like, that is what we, I mean, I guess I'm kind of speaking for you here a little bit, but like that, I feel like that's what we are here for, you know, like that kind of engagement is one of those things that brings us that gratification that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Is just knowing that, you know, of course we create for ourselves too, but putting something out there and then having it actually be received and interpreted and responded to in such a lovely, positive way is just like, it's different. It's very cool. And we've experienced that a lot with the Nightmare Detectives, just because we didn't even plan to release that in the first place.
Yes.
So that started as a thing we were just doing for ourselves, and
Yeah.
now it's become a thing that we can share with everyone else. And
yeah.
And that's really cool, because our stories, to an extent, are kind of made for this platform.
And the fact that we get thousands of people like on those Narrator Detectives is kind of insane as well.
It's
like
insane.
That is
crazy.
nuts. And it definitely changed some of the aspects of how we present the show on our side, but overall we've tried to keep the same vibes going. And like I would say, like, if we go on about it a lot, it's because it's something Luce and I in particular are so proud of. We are so proud of the Nightmare Detectives. It is something that, you know, we see a market in the horror space for Monster of the Week, with Sturgeon and everything else, but the people we've got involved, like, we both put everything of ourselves into it. But yeah, Aesthetic Wife, thank you so much again for the donation, and I hope work goes okay for you, and, you know, stay safe where you are. Sorcerer, I don't think 2 times speed matters, personally. I don't think it affects anything, like, for the channel. I think it, like Steven said, it just affects some ambience and stuff, but that's okay. Like, again, if you need to do it that speed, that's absolutely fine. Honestly, don't stress it.
Preference.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. Big Daddy Stone, thank you again for being here, and I hope you drive safely, my friend. I will be in touch with you in the next day or so. I will not forget. If I forget, send me a message and slap me. Because I'm just terrible for it. Yeah, sorry Ronnie couldn't make it. There was always a chance he was gonna forget. God bless that boy. He's probably we'll get him next time. He was probably busy with something. But that's okay. It has been such a pleasure with all of you guys. Thank you all for joining, for making this so cool. We're right at 4,000 subs. Maybe we'll do a stream every month. If you guys are up for it, maybe we'll do like the first half, which will be Nightmare Detective focused on Patreon, and then we'll come over here and hang out. But we'll see. And if we don't, you could definitely count us in for 10,000, but we'll see what happens. You can expect new content on the weekend. Fingers crossed. I'm not going to say absolutely, because I'm terrible for that. But I am pretty certain that the Iceberg Theory video, which is the horror story I did for Ronnie's channel, that's going to be going up first. And that should be on the main channel by Sunday. And also, before I forget, Haley, I know you subscribe to the Patreon. I will send you a message saying thank you. But thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for everybody being here. This channel is nothing without you guys, without the listeners, without the Dustlight family. Yeah, I think that's everything from me. Luce, anything from you?
Yeah, no, that about sums it up. We love you guys, and just thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, and we will see you again when dusk enters the station. Have a lovely weekend.